The latest episode of Pluribus is called Got Milk, and it is here to recruit you. I don't know how many of you caught that joke, but I'm sure some of you did. So, we're talking about episode 5 of Pluribus. And if episode 5 of Pluribus has taught us anything, it's this. Never trust a glass of milk, you guys, especially when it's being delivered by people who love too hard, smile too wide, and might be one emotional hiccup away from turning you into a missing person poster. More milk jokes. Today we're diving into Got Milk, the creepiest dairy-based mystery since someone asked, what if cows aren't the problem? Dun dun dun. Hey gang, it's JP, and today we're talking about the latest episode of Pluribus, an episode that somehow manages to be hilarious, unsettling, and heartbreaking all at the same time, okay? And honestly, I loved it. The whole milk situation, it's weird, you guys. It's like one of the most intriguing mysteries this show has ever given us so far, and this show's given us a lot of mysteries, and I'm sure it'll continue to give us mysteries. But episode 5 ramps it up with drone paranoia, hive-wide awkwardness, and Carol being treated like the universe's most dangerous red flag. And really, she kind of is at this point. In this particular situation, she is dangerous without even trying so hard to be dangerous. But in this episode, the milk mystery deepens, okay? So every week so far, Pluribus finds a way to introduce one new Little Nightmares scenario. And this time, it's milk. In most shows, milk is just breakfast. In Pluribus, milk is a warning, a clue, a symbol, and possibly the creepiest gift you can leave on someone's doorstep. Yeah, I'm talking to you, 1950s milk deliverers, those milkmen. What a weird thing. But that's the way we were, you guys. That's the way the world used to be. You get your milk delivered. It was probably more affordable back then, too, like most things were. But the moment Carol picks up that carton, you feel something is wrong. It's too intentional, too personal, too curated. Milk is the hive's new love language for some reason, and suddenly Got Milk feels like a threat disguised as kindness. I don't know what this milk is. It's no, well, it's not even milk. It's in milk cartons. I'm guessing maybe in other parts of the world, it might be. I think Carol even talks about this. It might be in a different type of packaging, different type of bottles. Maybe they're all drinking Gatorade over in Wyoming. Who knows? But the brilliance of this episode is that the milk isn't just mysterious, it's absurd. It's funny until it isn't. That balance is where this show thrives, you guys. Thank you, Vince Gilligan, for giving me something to look forward to every week. I love the dude. I didn't know I loved the dude so much, but this show makes me really love the dude. And I was a huge fan of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but Pluribus, it gets me in the sci-fi bones, you guys. But let's talk about the drone scene, okay? It's like the funniest, creepiest moment of the season so far. Episode 5 gives us what might be the best combination of comedy and dread so far with the drone. I mean, and I knew it was coming when she asked for a pickup of her trash. I knew everyone was gone. I'm like, they're gonna send a drone. I just know it. And boom, there it was. I'm pretty good at predicting TV shows, you guys. Even ones written by smart brain people that are smarter than me. But the drone comes buzzing along around Carol's home like a paranoid Roomba with intimacy issues. Basically, it doesn't want to get too close, and it's hilariously eerie. I mean, it's watching her, it's learning, it's judging, it's also picking up her trash a little bit, or trying to. That little machine feels like the hive's noisiest middle manager, basically. One whose job is to collect garbage, enforce the emotional status quo, and tattle the very moment Carol does anything off script. I remember in a previous episode that there was some sort of drone Sojo was talking about 40,000 feet up, just watching the whole situation at Carol's property. You know, they're watching her the entire time. Still, they have to, right? But the timing of this drone, the movement, the awkward little personality, and yes, it does have a personality. It's all perfect to me, you guys. Now, it's clear now that the Hive is shifting, though. They're not just watching Carol, they're beginning to fear her. And that brings us to the emotional heart of this episode. The Hive is giving Carol the cold shoulder. Now, I noticed it. There was a guy pushing a cart across the hallway, barely looked at her, which is very weird for the Hive. And then there was a nurse taking care of Zoja, and she was giving Carol the cold shoulder. And I'm like, well, that's really weird because they're always so kind and nice. And hi, Carol. Hello, Carol. How's your day going, Carol? And this nurse just kind of wouldn't even look at her and just kind of got out of there as quickly as she could. And right then I was like, oh, the Hive is either the actress doesn't get it or the Hive is acting differently. And they were, because the very next scene they all were leaving, getting out of Dodge, getting out of Albuquerque. So they used to be predictable, but when that happened, they were no longer predictable. Suddenly Carol walks into a Hive heavy space and you can feel the shift. The smiles don't land. The warmth is forced. The pauses are a little too long. Somehow a Hive HQ, someone at Hive HQ definitely sent out like an internal memo, which isn't very hard with the Hive. Treat Carol like a biohazard nicely. It's not like outright hostility. It's not violence. It's kind of worse. It's polite fear. Because the Hive is supposed to love everyone. At least it seems that way. They're literally built for it, programmed for it. But what happens when they encounter someone who threatens the entire system? Someone their programming can't categorize as safe or worthy. Someone who shakes their emotional architecture. I don't think there was, well, of course, there was not meant to be, we'll call them survivors. That's what Carol calls them. Those that still have their individuality. I don't think the Hive was meant to have to deal with anyone like that. It's just too counter intuitive to what they and I say they, it's it now, what it actually is. So for the first time, the Hive seems to realize that loving Carol might actually be dangerous. And I know that this show is supposed to have some sort of metaphor, and I'm sure that metaphor is going to be about life. Maybe it's about relationships. Maybe it's about algorithms. Basically, the Hive to me is kind of like an algorithm. We'll see what Vince Gilligan's metaphor for the entire show actually ends up being. But Carol has become the Hive's greatest threat. I mean, she can kill millions of them just by having a bad day, by blowing up at them emotionally, yelling at them. Boom, millions dead. That's pretty dangerous. So up until now, Carol has been the odd one out, the miserable human surrounded by weaponized niceness. But after this episode, it feels like she's like crossed a line, a threshold, a point of no return. She's no longer just different. She's dangerous. Why? Because Carol is the one thing the Hive cannot replicate. She's like, independent thought rooted in pain, mistrust, and genuine emotion, real emotion, raw emotion, unfiltered humanity. And the Hive doesn't seem to be able to process that. What the hell is this Hive? I mean, I don't know when we're going to learn that little nugget of information. I'm sure it's going to be drawn out as far as the show can possibly drag it out. They're going to drag it out because they want people to hunger to watch the next episode, which is how I am right now. But the Hive, it loves order. The Hive loves connection. The Hive loves love, which, sounds nice, but is actually in practice isn't. So when a single person refuses to sync, refuses to blend, refuses the emotional assimilation, they become a threat not just to individuals, but the entire Hive mind structure. And we know the other survivors don't seem to give an F. Maybe the one dude in Paraguay, but we don't know much about him yet. But I'm sure we will at some point. but Carol's resistance is definitely starting to cause cracks. And her what if her awareness of individuality begins to spread? She almost had Zoja in the last episode, giving her getting her all on whatever those drugs were. I can't remember. It started with a T or something like that. I don't know if it matters. I don't know what that was. But she gave Zoja some meds in the last episode, and it seems like we might have been able to unsync her from the hive. We don't know enough about that yet. We'll have to catch up with her at some point, which I'm sure we will. But Carol's misery might end up being contagious, and it might end up being what frees everyone. We know Carol found out that there's definitely a way to undo the hive. She doesn't know what that is yet. We don't know what that is yet, but she knows that it's possible, and that's enough to give her hope. And sometimes all you need is hope that it is possible, even if you don't know what that possibility is. But imagine it seems like the hive mind is changing. Their feelings about her are changing, even though they claimed that they still care about her in the same way, whatever. But imagine a hive mind that begins to wonder, what else are we not seeing? What if our love is not enough? What if we're wrong? And these are probably thoughts they were never meant to have with whatever created this thing that changed, that created the hive in the first place. The hive is programmed to obviously love everyone equally, but Carol has become that exception, the exception that shouldn't exist in this situation, and that terrifies them. So let's talk about the ending of this episode, because it was kind of, the ending of this episode definitely got me where I'm like, oh good, I need to know what just happened. Because right when you knew something happened, boom, cut to credits. That's what good shows do. They get you interested and they're like, okay, bye, see you next time. What did Carol see? So without spoiling the visual specifics for listeners who aren't caught up, and if you're not caught up, why are you listening to me right now? The final moment of the episode is a pure adrenaline spike, okay? Carol sees something. It really seems like she saw something and had like a eureka moment. Maybe a eureka moment that terrifies her because she seems to understand something, or seems to be beginning to understand something that clearly wasn't meant for her. And that moment shifts the entire tone of the show. This isn't just like eerie kindness anymore. This isn't just love gone too far. This feels like conspiracy level danger. And it has to do something with this. Well, it's not milk, but whatever it is they're drinking. Carol understood something all of a sudden, and then it cut to black. So whatever Carol saw, it changes her understanding of the hive. It exposes vulnerabilities, maybe on both sides, and it may be the first step toward the hive turning on her. Because at some point, they have to full on turn on her. There's got to be that sort of danger, I'm thinking. But here's a twist. Did the hive let her see whatever she saw? Because nothing in this world could be an accident at this point. There are just too many. Every single mind in the world is one being now. They know everything. The smartest people that can see 20 moves ahead, they're all part of it. And having all of that information now put together into one being, they might be able to be making more connections between that information than could have been made when we're all individuals. Maybe the information that we all know is now even more meaningful because we're able to put pieces together to have new understanding of things. So if the hive wanted Carol completely in the dark, she would be. The fact that she glimpsed something forbidden may mean their emotional protocol is glitching. And a hive mind with a glitch is infinitely more frightening than a hive mind with power. You know, it's like backing a wild animal into a corner. Is that the phrase? Is that the phrase I'm thinking about? Nobody puts baby in the corner. But what happens when the hive mind stops loving so much? Because we know that even though they want to please Carol, and even Carol said, well, if you want to please me, you know I don't want to be converted, become part of the hive mind. Why would you do that to me if you know it would make me unhappy? And they had their reasons. They're like, oh, well, you want to change us. Pointing fingers. But what if they eventually just stop loving her because it's vital to their survival? It's a big question. The hive isn't just a group. It's a system designed around one foundational rule: love everyone and spread the love, make everything part of the hive. If they lose that, if they can't love Carol anymore, if they choose not to, then it means choice is emerging. And now, if choice becomes a thing, now we're kind of getting back to the ideas of autonomy and individuality, those are thoughts that will crack the collective. And when those cracks appear, people inside the hive mind might begin to question everything. Who decides who's worthy of love? What happens to someone who falls outside the algorithm? And yes, like I said, I feel like this might be a metaphor about algorithms. What is the hive protecting and why? And what happens to the one person they now fear? I mean, we know they have rules about causing harm or killing things, but what if they come up with a way of putting Carol in danger so that she kind of, she might kill herself on accident? What if they start trying to put a leg out to trip her, metaphorically speaking? And they're like, well, we're not causing harm directly, but if we can implicitly cause harm, so Carol takes care of the situation all on her own, maybe they'll be okay with that. Maybe they'll find justification. But if episode 5 is any indication, Carol is walking into a future where unconditional love can flip into conditional loyalty, and conditional loyalty can flip into danger. I think we're watching the beginning of a quiet civil war. I mean, yes, it is one being technically, but all of us are an individual. We're all one being, but we have conflicting thoughts. So what if this hive mind starts having conflicted thoughts, so to speak, with different members of the hive mind starting to dissent? Maybe there's going to be a left brain, right brain war. So, we're not talking about individuals really. We're just talking about one mind shared by millions. Minds can be chaotic. My mind is chaotic. I'm wondering if I should, it's going to be a little bit extra long wait for the next episode of Pluribus, but there's a lot more to talk about with this show than just reviewing the episodes and talking about what happens in an episode. So maybe I should make some more episodes about Pluribus that are just about the show and not necessarily breaking down individual episodes. I mean, I don't know if there's much appetite for that. There's not really much appetite for anything I put out there, except for some of you, and you guys are great. But hey, that's what happens when you stop trying to appeal to general audiences and just appeal to the people that might, think the same way that I think. Either way, I'm putting out stuff. We don't need to break it down. But Carol is standing right in the center of all of this craziness going on. Actually, is Albuquerque now the center of the world? I don't know. Something to think about. But you guys, which side do you think will fracture first in this situation? The hive or Carol? And do you think the hive's love is genuine or just a tool for control by whatever started this hive mind situation? And if you're enjoying these deep dives, make sure to keep exploring the Egotastic Multiverse. All the links are in the description, including Patreon if you want to support the show directly. Keep those lights on. And you guys, I hope all your times are Egotastic fun times. Love you. Bye-bye.
Save my money,